counseling, we welcome Elena Erickson.
About you. I know there's been a lot of these rallies. We appreciate you coming and being here. I would like to thank Jacob for the prayer. That was a beautiful prayer, and we definitely want to petition to our God at this time. I want you to think about why you're really here. Most of us realize that we have lost a lot of liberties this year. This year has been a wake-up call. And as I've been thinking about it, it hasn't started this year. Unfortunately, we have allowed government to dictate our lives for a long time, and it's gotten out of control. And unfortunately, we need to take that power back. So today I feel compelled to speak about a few things. And there are things that each of us must do individually. Today I will speak about private and public virtues that enable us to obtain liberty. The year was 1787, and Benjamin Franklin prophesied, "Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom." Now more than ever, I understand what he meant. Is our problem a governor, or if we have lost our liberties, is it because we first lost our virtue? It's a question that invites introspection from each and every one of us. You see, liberty is a value, but it is not free. It comes with a price tag of sacrifice and responsibility. So if you value liberty, you must earn it to preserve it. In Latin, the word for tree bark is liber, and that is spelled L-I-B-E-R. And anciently, tree bark was used to make paper. And it was used to educate people, but unfortunately only the wealthy had access to it. So there developed two classes of people, slaves through ignorance and masters through education. If we take the word liber and we add a ty to the end of it, we get liberty. Furthermore, liber is the root word for library, where people go to get educated. Private virtue consists of your personal education, because an educated people cannot be slaves. The more light and knowledge you obtain, the more capable you become. And so the truth will set you free. So educate yourselves. Study from the best of books. Let the Spirit guide you. You must get your education. Your freedom depends upon it. The second virtue is public virtue. And this consists of the two great commandments: to love God above all else, and then love your neighbor as yourself. How many times have scriptures said that if we will do these two things, we will prosper in the land? Are we prospering? Secondly, public virtue is making the personal sacrifices necessary to enable us to obtain liberty. Let me give you a true story. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to rewrite the signers of the Declaration of Independence biographies. And there is a couple that stand out to me today. That is of Abraham and Sarah Clark. You see, the British gave them one of the cruelest tests of loyalty. They took their two sons and put them on the Jersey ship. And that Jersey ship had a nickname. It was named the Death Ship. And it was because whoever entered there would be held captive and face the most certain death of humiliation, starvation, and torture. Well, the British told Abraham and Sarah, "Hey, we will release your sons off of this ship if you will recant your position on the Declaration of Independence." Imagine being that parent. What could they do? Sure, as any of us and the natural men and women in us would want our children back and to do anything to avoid harm to them. They knew that a lot was at stake. If they took their sons, then they would be setting a precedence for tyranny and sacrificing generations of freedom. So their choice was clear. They sacrificed their personal comforts for us, for our freedoms, and for our liberties. They left their sons on that death ship. They displayed the most purest form of public virtue both a citizen and a parent can render. perhaps the time has come for us to consider what public virtue we can bestow upon the cause of liberty. While there are many sacrifices that need to be made, and we're not being asked to leave our children on a death ship. I can't tell you what the sacrifices you will need to be made. You will need personal revelation for that, but I can guarantee that the time to be comfortable and silent has passed. We must be bold against tyranny. Good citizens do not comply with tyrannical measures. Good citizens defend God's plan of freedom. It may be hard, and it may be uncomfortable, and it may ignite fear. But the book of Timothy enlightens us, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. Was Daniel in the Bible afraid when Darius mistakenly decreed it against the law to pray? Maybe. But then what Daniel did is he went out into the public and into his balcony, and he prayed openly, regardless of the law and regardless of the consequences. And for Daniel's integrity, God saved him from the lions. Remember, God is on the side of liberty, and he has always performed his greatest miracles for the cause. But will he do so in our case without us first aligning ourselves to him and sanctifying our lives to be worthy of it? Friends, our problem is not a governor. Who is he anyway compared to millions of Utahns? He does not have the authority to do anything he's been doing. It's smoke and mirrors. And if you have been complying, you're part of the problem. Right. If we comply, we feed the opposition. The key is to not comply. I have not complied once, and it hasn't been easy because I know it to be wrong. I know it to be wrong. And I will not participate in what I feel is wrong. I don't like what I see is happening in society. And I answer to my God with my conscience, first and foremost, over any governor. God is my master. We are in a spiritual battle. And so the solution is a spiritual solution. Slowly we have kicked God out of schools and businesses and even some churches, and most have been silent, all in the name of the new God of political correctness. We will never win this, no matter what, if we stay silent. That event is found in these verses. And Moses said unto the people, "Fear ye not, and stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. Your God will fight for you, and you may hold your peace." Friends, our God will fight for us if we are doing all that we can, and if we are worthy of it. More than anything, I have realized that when churches were canceled, it was a huge wake-up call. We must remember that government was organized to protect our religious freedoms. I don't care what your religion is. If you're an atheist, you have values. Religion is values. Those things must be protected. If we are not protected in our values, and if we have to allow government to dictate what we value, we are lost. We have it backwards. I want to testify that God will open miracles, but we are his hands, and he will do it if we do our part. So find your faith, square your life with God, lovingly serve others, and let your light shine. Open yourselves up to what you need to do in your public and private virtues, and then stand by and watch the Lord part the proverbial Red Sea of miracles on behalf of the age-old war on liberty. Thank you for having me.
Let's hear it once again for Elena Erickson. Some of the things we remember, we do know that all government authority comes from who? It comes from us. If we do not have the authority to be able to force somebody else to do something, we recognize that the government cannot derive any just power that we don't possess ourselves. When you see people that are saying, fine anti-maskers, and you realize they do not have the courage to say, I'm going to take your money if you don't put something on your face. How cowardly is it to say, I'm going to have a government agent do it on my behalf? We will still respond with love to that kind of cowardice and that kind of ignorance. But we know the authority, who does it come from? It comes from us. Something that I failed to mention a little bit earlier. If you've got your mobile devices with you and you go over to Facebook and you type in KUTV2 as in numero dos, the most recent live video, which was less than an hour ago, he's very, very much regretting giving me access to be able to say things on there. I will say this! He was very bothered and tried to shut me down. You don't have to view it beforehand if you don't want. I'm telling you, this thing is vetted. If you find KUTV2 on Facebook, the most recent live video, hit share on your Facebook page. You'll see my pretty beard. It doesn't get better. And if I do need a mask, I just do a little bit of that. It works. It's all organic. It filters out everything except love and masculinity. Find that video. Share it. So we've got more wonderful speakers that are happening. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, so we'll give reserved applause. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Thank you. Okay, so I forgot to announce some exciting things that we finally have happening. There's been a small group of us who've been actively going after our rights. And I want to clarify, this is not about being anti-mask. So if there's any news reporter people around here, or our lovely person back there, this is about freedom of choice. And I will always stand on the side of freedom of choice, because that's what freedom is. And I do not have the right to tell somebody else that they can't do what they feel is right for them. So I want to give you guys a little bit of background. There's a group of us that have been putting together what is called a notice of liability. This notice of liability is a 30-page affidavit written by a doctor. I've been working with her. We have a perfected claim. Herbert, Cox, Minor, and Dunn have been served 3 times since July with the opportunity to respond, and they have not. So they have gone into dishonor. With this, we can take it and appeal it to a judge to make a judgment. We're going after their insurance policies, and I have their oaths in my email box. So, with that affidavit, we have a petition. I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. It's Alena, A-L-E-N-A, Erickson, E-R-I-C-K-S-E-N. You can find it on my feed. You can sign it there, or I have a hard copy here. We're about ready to petition Attorney General Reyes to do a criminal investigation on these 4 people for the harms they have caused Utahns. However you define harm, if that was your business that was harmed, and again, this is not about a mask. This is about not being able to go to church normally. This is about not being able to have our business function normally, or schools function normally. If we think this is about a mask, we've missed the mark. This has nothing to do with the mask. The mask is a symbol and a symptom of a bigger problem. I will say it's a very vivid description of slavery. So, if you don't want to find me on Facebook, I did an I-petition for the criminal investigation. I have a hard copy here, so you can come up and sign it at any point. I'll be here till this ends. But I just wanted you guys to know that there are those of us who are actively taking action. This isn't just about sitting and having nice little rallies. We're doing our best to get together, to be active, to take action, because I love America. And I will say that if I'm on the government's bad side, then I'm doing something right. I would gladly give my life, and I would challenge anybody to arrest me for not wearing a mask. Don't tread on me, because I will fight, and I will defend myself. Don't step on me, because I will not stop. And so I'm going to do everything I can to fight for America, to fight for freedom of choice, to fight for our rights, to live according to the dictates of our conscience. And that's what this is about. Please, do what you can to share it with your neighbors. Do what you can to remind people. And we cannot vote for Cox. We need to know that Cox has been actively involved. He was given the assignment to do everything he's done for COVID measures. There's a lot of corruption, a lot of money involved. People need to know that. Secondly, do not write in Greg Hughes. I helped him with his campaign before the primary was over, and I love Greg, but he did not register. A lot of people are writing him in, it won't count. People need to know that. So hopefully we will see Madeline soon, and she deserves our support. Thank you.
Thank you.